Hey, good morning. Happy Saturday, y'all. I am going to do my very first garden tour this morning, and I am so excited about it. Even though there's not a whole lot going on in the garden right now, there's still stuff to be excited about. So much so that most of the time I can't even sleep at night because I'm busy thinking about all of the things that I want to do out in the garden. And so in my mind, I'm having all of these plans and preparations made. So I just wanted to share some of those things with you today. And another reason I wanted to go ahead and start the garden tours is because even though there's not a whole lot going on in the garden outside right now, there's still things going on in the background that you may not see if you look at the garden. But if you look in my house, in the back room where I have grow lights, you'll see a lot going on. If you look out in the greenhouse, you'll see some things going on. If you look in through my kitchen window, you'll see some things going on because I have some things sitting in pots where they can get some sun. So there's a little more going on than it really looks like in the garden, but I also wanted you to see the process from start to finish, and so that you can see the difference from what it looks like now, which is nothing but dirt, dingy dirt right now. But in just a few weeks, it's going to start looking green and lush, and you're going to start to see fruit not long after that. So you're going to go from dirty drab to beautiful foliage and delicious fruits before long at all. And so I just wanted to kind of take you along on that journey with me. And so it would, in hopes that it would really help to encourage somebody somewhere to start a garden. Even if you can't do a big garden, start with some pots, get you some tomatoes, even do some cucumbers. Last year I done some cucumbers in a couple of my flower pots sitting on my bar, and they actually produced pretty good. So I'm so excited about the garden season this year, y'all, and I'm excited to be doing this channel so that I can share it with somebody that maybe feels that same kind of excitement that I do. So here in the in-ground garden, there's really nothing going on out here right at the moment. You can see I've just got a tarp over it, well, a couple tarps over top of it right now to help deter any kind of weed growth. So that way, whenever I do get ready to plant, I won't have to deal with a lot of weeds. So this will be the first year that we have actually amended the whole garden bed. We have not done that yet, but we're getting ready to do that. We're going to bring in a load of compost and amend that whole bed. Now, in the past, what we have done is kind of a cheaper way to do it. And so if you don't have the money to amend a whole garden bed, you can do it like I did last year and the year before. And I just dig holes where I'm going to put something. Take a tomato, for instance. Last year when I planted my tomatoes, I done a mixture of compost, and then I put a handful of Epsom salts in it, which is magnesium. I put a handful of the fertilizer, the 10-10-10 fertilizer granules, and I done a handful of calcium, which is the lime pellets. And so I would just mix all of that together, dig a hole bigger than I need, put that mixture down in there, and then I would plant the tomato and water it in. And so that way it would have a lot of nutrients, especially to help get the roots established. And so all of my stuff done really well, despite the fact that I have not amended this entire bed. But this year I'm going to amend the whole bed. And here I have some mustard greens. See if I can zero in on that just a little bit. I've got 2 in here. And like the tatsoi, these will not be able to grow very well whenever it starts to get hot. So I'm hoping that these will produce a little bit for me before it starts getting real hot. They bolt and they go to seed when it starts getting very hot. So I'm hoping to get something from that before they do that. And this is a pot too, but y'all, this is not one of those black pots. So I feel a little bit better about using this one, so it looks better. So anyway, I'll give you a little glimpse of what I used last year, because they're kind of sitting everywhere, and I'm sure that's why my husband's ready to get rid of them. It's because I literally have them everywhere. I had all kinds of stuff growing out of them last year. I had cucumbers and tomatoes growing right here last year that were coming out of the pots because I wanted to have more vegetables than I had space. But this year I've got a big raised bed that's going to help me get rid of some of these pots. This is the blueberry bush that we bought just this year. I'm excited about having blueberries. I've not done much research just yet on how to plant them and all of that, so I'll get back to you on that one. These are the same tomato plants that I had inside on my fireplace just a while ago. I've brought them outside since so that they can actually get some real sun. So all of the stuff that is going to go in my garden really begins here in a back room in my home. And I have lots of grow lights going on where I've got lots of stuff growing. I've got like 4 different shelves of stuff growing. And I started all of these from seeds, and actually some of them are getting quite out of hand, so much so that I've had to put some of them outside, and before long I'll be able to put them in the greenhouse. But my greenhouse does not have, it's not heated very well, and it is made out of glass windows, so it does not hold heat very well either. So I have to keep the majority of stuff inside when it's really cold at night. And especially the peppers, because the peppers, if they encounter cold before they, if they encounter cold, it will stunt their growth. And so I keep them inside. And last year I put them outside too soon. I didn't realize what was going on. So this is how I know that. So I put them outside too early because it was really warm during the day, but it would get pretty cool at night. And I didn't realize what it would do to them, and so their growth was stunted. And so they did still produce, but they didn't produce a lot because they were small. I think I had one that was probably no taller than that, and it started getting bell peppers on it. And so actually the peppers on the plant were bigger than the plant itself, so that one didn't do too well. So hold on to your peppers until it gets really warm at night. I think above the 50s is what they recommend before you put peppers outside. So I'll keep those in a little bit longer this year. So let me flip the camera around and show you what I've got. So on this top shelf here, I have some tomatoes, and I have, not all on this shelf, but all in all, I have 22 different varieties of tomatoes. And most of them, I have more than one tomato plant. I did lose some. I don't know how many of you watch my channel routinely, but I did lose some due to an error that I made in fertilizing. I used full strength fertilizer on my new seedlings, and they cannot take that. They have to have, at the very least, half strength fertilizer. And so this here is one that's left, and it's still trying to recover. I don't know that it'll make it or not. I hate throwing them away though, until I am sure that it's not going to recover. As you can see, I still have several that I'm trying to nurse them back to health, and they may or may not make it. If they don't, it's no big deal as far as what I'm going to have, because I plant extra. I always do. I plant extra so that I can give them away, so that I can sell them, and so that I will have extra in the event that something happens, like fertilizing with too much fertilizer. So anyway, that's the tomatoes. Some of them are outside. And then here are a bunch of my melons. So I have the Kajari melon in here that I done on my feature Friday, yesterday. I have watermelon in here. I didn't do a traditional watermelon this year. I done 2 different ones though. I done a Moon and Stars watermelon, and I also done the tender sweet orange that I'm really dying to try. I tried to grow one last year and it did not make it to maturity. So I'm really hoping that it would do better this year. That's one of them right there in the front. I don't know which one it is, but that is a watermelon of some sort. So you can see the one in the back. Some of them are really taking off. As a matter of fact, I had to move them up a shelf because when they were on the shelf below, they were growing up between the lights. And down here are some peppers. And I did trim away some of these peppers today because I like to snip the top of them off just to help them be stronger at the base. And there in the front are some more of those tomatoes that were affected by the fertilizer. And down on this shelf, there's some more peppers that I just trimmed. And I'll do a separate video on how to trim those peppers to get them to be strong and to actually produce more in the long run. There's some brand new stuff coming up. And I've got so many different things. I've got Tankuru soybeans coming up. I've got the silver slicer cucumbers. I'm so excited about those. I've tried to grow those maybe just once. And wherever I purchased the seed from did not send the right seed. So it actually ended up not being a silver slicer. But that's the one that I am the most excited about when it comes to cucumbers because it's new and I'm dying to try it. I've also got some flowers growing over here. I've got some celery. I've got phlox. I've got sunflowers. Just an array of different things. And then down here I have some stuff that hasn't really come up just yet. So I've got it on a heating mat, trying to encourage those to grow. So the grow room is not the only place that I have plants. I have them actually throughout the house. And so here are some tomatoes that I potted up yesterday because they were getting too big for the little pots that I had them in. So plenty of these, and these will go into the greenhouse here in just a little while as soon as it warms up. It's only about 35 outside right now. It's still a little early, but the greenhouse is warming up nicely. It's almost 50, so as soon as it gets above 55, I'll probably move them on into the greenhouse for the day. But the greenhouse does not hold good heat, so I'll bring those back in tonight. And here in another corner of the house are some other things. I have my Adirondack blue potatoes brought in because they are above the ground. Potatoes usually do okay if they've not sprouted yet. But because I had these above the ground, I thought I'd better bring them in. There's my new seedless green grapes that I have just put in pots. When it is past the stage of freezing, I will put those out. My new blueberry bush that my husband purchased at Lowe's, I think. And it's already starting to bud. And my Jackson and Perkins rose. So I have things a little bit of everywhere in the house. So that's about it. That's all I've got going on for now. The reason I really wanted to start the garden tours now versus waiting until they start having a lot of stuff in them is because, number one, I want you to see the process of what it takes to get these gardens going, whether it's the raised bed, whether it's container gardening, and or the in-ground garden. Even if you don't do anything except for something like a tomato in a container, you can grow something. And that's why I want you to see the process. I want you to see the process from start to finish. And if I can do it working a job that requires 40 hours a week on the level that I do it, you can certainly do it. My garden's a little bit bigger than some, but certainly not as big as somebody that does it for a living. But I enjoy doing it. Okay, that's it for my very first garden tour. I really enjoyed it because I love talking about garden stuff and I love doing garden stuff. So I hope you all will join me again on Saturday mornings is whenever I like to do these. I may not get them posted Saturday morning because it does take me a little while to kind of compile them together and get it edited a little bit. I don't do a whole lot of editing, obviously, because I don't have a lot of time to edit. So most of it's just kind of off the cuff, whatever I can think of to talk about. So if there's something specific you all would like for me to talk about, just please let me know in the comments below, and I will be glad to do another video on anything that you all would like to hear, as long as it's something that I know something about. So I hope you all have a great day, and God bless you.